Well, Mr. Viewers, I think it's official. This last weekend was one of the worst, if not the worst, movie weekend of 2017. Watching this movie that I'm about to talk about today was like being forced to eat yellow snow. Today I'm going to be talking about Michael Fassbender and Rebecca Ferguson's new movie, The Snowman. Like all good movies, this one starts at a logical place, which is book number 7 of a series. Detective Harry Hole begins helping with a missing persons case that leads to a cold case that is almost a decade old. It seems that the killer has returned, and it's up to Detective Hole and his new, way too obviously personally invested partner to crack the case. First things first, this movie is a complete mess. Now, if it would have stuck to the current case and the cold case from the past, the plot might have actually worked. I think by sticking with the current and the past cases, that would have made this a more focused movie. That being said, there's other things going on like Rebecca Ferguson's character's plot, which does tie in the end, but it kind of feels like a waste of time. It takes away from the namesake of the movie, which is the Snowman Killer. And speaking of the Snowman Killer, his motive. Let's talk about that, shall we? First of all, the movie tries to pull a completely obvious bait and switch on us when it comes to some of the scenes. You're supposed to think it's one person, but it's another person, and they try so hard to get you to feel it's one thing, you know it's the other. Another thing, his reasons for doing this, I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say it's pretty lame. Now, who's the Snowman Killer? I'm not going to tell you, but you know what? I don't have to, because even though the movie doesn't think it is, it's completely obvious. The only compelling crime that this movie has going for it is its waste of talent. First, there's Michael Fassbender. I'll use an adapted analogy about him. Michael Fassbender's like sex. Even when the movie's pretty bad, he's still pretty good. Then you have Rebecca Ferguson, J.K. Simmons, Toby Jones, and the one I feel the worst about is Val Kilmer. The first thing you notice about his performance is that he's in really bad shape and they had to dub all of his lines, but there's actually a reason for this. At the time of filming, he was dealing with cancer and was having trouble speaking and moving. Oddly enough, in a way this worked because his character was a drunk, so his feeble movements and his lack of speaking actually played well to the character. That being said, get ready to feel really bad for him. During this movie, it felt like there was missing scenes, and the reason it felt like there was missing scenes is because there was. Come to find out, during the filming of this movie, they quote-unquote forgot to film certain scenes, and some of them were actually key scenes to the plot. Trust me, this is pretty noticeable in the editing of the movie. It is terrible. The sad thing is, this series could have actually been pretty good. Seeing the trailers, it actually kind of reminded me of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie. Of course, you've seen how studios handled that one. I'm still pretty PO'd that no sequel with Fincher's cast is going to get made. This movie was based on a whole book series, and like I said at the beginning, they started at book number 7, which means we as the audience probably have a lot of things that we don't know. You can tell this was a poor decision because this is a rushed, sloppy, and a movie that wastes every single bit of its talent. As always, thank you so much for watching. What did you think of The Snowman? Feel free to comment on down in the section below, but remember, it's only just one guy's opinion. I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino. Until next time.